I want to talk a little bit about donor fatigue because you bring up
Sure.
donor fatigue and spacing out your appeals. And I want to talk about this because I've spent some time with people that I've been training talking about don't be afraid to do more. Because I think at some shops, potentially not in higher ed, but especially at small nonprofit shops, they're afraid to make people upset. They're
Yeah.
scared of donor fatigue, so they hold back in terms of more appeals or more mentions of giving money. How do you balance that, making sure that you're spacing it out so you don't get donor fatigue, but also that rule of seven, rule of 11 that they talk about where
Sure.
people need to see it a lot before they take action?
Yeah. So I think the big thing to think about is take a moment and be your donor. So, does your donor know when the calendar magically flips to July because your fiscal year is starting on July 1? Do they know it's a new year? Probably not. Do they care? Going to also say probably not. When you're planning, plan for more than 12 months. Keep it going. Think about the overlap between the two fiscal years. I always like to think about it in terms of quarters. I plan a quarter before my fiscal year starts. I look at the overlap the quarter after it ends, and that part's really important. So when you're thinking about the timing of your pieces that are going to launch early, pause and say, how heavy did I hit them at the tail end of my fiscal year? And does that impact the audiences or what type of piece you send? Don't necessarily slow the train, but think about how it's going to feel to that donor.
The donors, I have absolutely done whole presentations on your donors don't care about your fiscal year. They only
They
care
don't care.
about your calendar year. So that's a really good point. Is to their mind, are they hitting the hard reset button like we think we are as fundraisers on July
100%.
1st? No, surely not. Like they're oblivious to that. They know about calendar year end because that's taxes, of course. But yeah, I think that's such a good point, and I hadn't really put those two together. That's really good.
Yeah. The only exception that
Yeah.
I see to those who might actually care about fiscal years would be if you have a really strong consecutive donor society. So there
Mhm.
are a number of institutions and organizations that have strong consecutive donor societies. And when that happens, that is something you want to think about, and that should be part of your messaging. So if you've got a situation where they get a star or an asterisk in the donor roll, they might actually care if they get their gifted on time. But beyond that, they really don't care.